Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible? Hello?
Yes, Rajesh.
Okay, great. Okay, so I have the program open from the previous session. The topic we'll be covering today are here it is. So we'll be covering two slides. One is the operators in Java, arithmetic, unary, all these things, logical, bitwise, shift, these operators. And then we'll go over the exceptions in Java. I'll start with the exceptions, then I'll go to the operator because exceptions is a key topic. So we'll cover that first. Okay, so let me go to the program from where we left. So we created one main application yesterday, and first we are getting the total employees count. For each employee, we are getting the code, name, and address and gender. We are adding to an object. We are passing that object to a user-defined class. In the user-defined class, we receive that object in a method, and we put it inside a list. That's the first section. Second section, we add it to a map, and we print the list and we print the map. So this is all we did yesterday. Now, is there a, okay, there's no error. Let me just run this once and see everything is good to go. Unless Java application. It will ask how many. It will ask what's the number of employees. I'll give 2. Enter the code 101. Rajesh, address and name. Employee code 102. Address and 2. Okay, list is printing. Okay. So today we will go over the exceptions. I have the link from the documentation on what is exception and what are the classes that has to be used. Okay. So exception is, can someone tell me what is exception in terms of the basic English word? Yes, please. Someone from.
Rajesh, you can hear me, right?
Sorry?
Hello?
I can
hear
hear
my
you.
voice?
Yeah, now I can.
Exceptions, just for example, if you are going in a normal road, if you don't have any option in that road, we are going to take another route, right?
Yes.
There is an exception, there is a hurdle.
So
yeah, like
exactly, that's what it is. So in the program, we might come across some unusual scenarios which has to be dealt in a proper way. So as you said, when you go through a road, there is some blockage. That's an unusual scenario, correct? There is a hole in the road. Let's just build up the example which you gave. You are going and there is a hole in the hole in the road. That's unexpected. So what you will do, you will see that there is a hole in the road and you will take diversion, you will go through a different path. Now, what if you don't see it? What will happen?
in the real scenario, there will be a loss.
You will fall into the
that hole, yeah.
and you will get yourself hurt. Whoever is going will get like a slight hurt they'll get, and then they'll get up from the hole and they'll walk again. Okay, so we'll just relate this and we'll understand the terminology. So there is a hole in the road. This is called the exception. Some unusual scenarios which can come in the program. That might be because of improper coding, or data might be different. All these things are unusual scenario. One real example is in this program, when it is asking me how many employees you want to enter, instead of giving 2, I am giving A. This is an unusual scenario, correct? The program is expecting a number, but as a user, I don't know that I have to enter a number. I am giving it. There is an exception. You see here, there is an exception thrown. So exception is everywhere. Unusual scenarios are always there in a program. So this is an exception. What is the exception? Number format exception. So this is one type of exception. So coming back to the scenario, there is a hole in the road. That's an exception or the unusual scenarios. Unusual scenarios. Now we see the hole. What will happen? We will move to a different direction. This is in real life scenario. In program, we call it as try catch. No, I'm sorry. Try catch is something different. This is throws. This is termed as throws. Now, we don't see the hole. We fall into the hole and we get up and start moving again. This is called try catch. And the hole, this is called the throw. These are the 4 words which I mentioned in the previous slide. Try catch, throw, throws, finally. This is what it is equal to in our real world scenarios. This is called an exception and mark in different color just to exception. And we have throws and we have try catch and we have a throw. We have one more as finally. After we fall, we get up. This is finally. So if you can understand this scenario, this relation, we will now apply it same in the program. You'll understand it much better on what is happening.
Rajesh, here just the hole is called throw. That's what you mean?
No, yeah, correct. Hole is actually the okay, wait. Hole is actually not the hole. Well, when someone sees the hole, no, actually, yeah. Let's keep the hole as
Let someone have an before Ada there is a hole. No.
no, actually, this is the hole itself. We'll keep it. Once we do the program, let's come back again and maybe we'll correlate.
Gotcha.
Now we'll go here. So what is happening? The program is expecting a number. I'm giving a string. This is an exception. You see here already I have given this throws. So there is an already a compilation error. Unhandled exception, IO exception. What? Okay, if I take this scenario, okay. So this here, there is a possibility. No, I'll not take this scenario because it is inbuilt. Let me create one exception. I'll continue with this. Okay, what we'll do even before the program comes here, let's you forget all these things. Let's create one variable as int number one equal to number one equal to one. Now I am giving sys out number by zero. Number one by zero. There is no compilation error, but 1 by 0 is infinity. Correct? 1 by 0 is actually an infinity. There should be an error by 0. We cannot divide a number by 0. That's the max rule. So I will put it inside the user defined class. There is a reason for it. I'll put it inside. Okay. Now from this class, let me run this now. I'll just give one. These are all not okay. As soon as I enter the code, because code should be a number. Again, that's an error. Let's give one proper value. Code is one. Name is this. Okay. Now, if we see, there is an arithmetic exception thrown inside this class. Understood? Or once again, if this is going to be confusing for you, I'll create new project from scratch and explain. That will be easier. I'll create one project as exception because we are having some other data there. You might tend to get confused with the code. So here we have the exception. I'll create one new class as main program. Let me get rid of these two classes as I don't need them now. Here I'll give one main program, main method, and I'll create one more class as class A. Now inside class A, I'll give public, return type is void, say hello, no arguments. Here is out 1 by 0. Now here I'll call class A equal to new, class A obj equal to new class A. Okay, so far any questions? I just created one main program. I created one class A and I created one method inside class A. I've kept it side by side. One method inside class A and there is a sysout in the class A. This is going to give me an error. Is it clear so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now if you see, when I call that, when I run this main program, it's going to, I have not called the method. Once I call it, it will trigger then exception. Obj dot say hello. Okay. Run as the application. Okay. This is the actual hole. This is what, this is the hole where we fall. Okay. So we fall into the hole and this is what happened. Now we
The
have fallen.
particular statement or particular thing we will call as code.
This is the problem in the program, correct? This is what is causing an error to happen.
Okay.
If we had known that this will cause an issue, we would have easily handled it. So now an error has happened. Now what we said, you have to get up and go smoothly. So what we'll do here is we will give try and we will enclose this with a catch. Catch. In catch, we'll catch the exception. ex obj. So we will print the object. So what happens now? The object of the class A will be created. The method will be called. From the method, the error will be generated. I'll run this now. You see here, it has come inside this statement. Let me give a string also. Inside is out. The insides is out. Here it is. What's happening is there is some error which happened in this method. Who called this method? The main program called the method. So from the main program, we are calling the catch. Try catch. So what this means is you try calling this program. You try calling this Java object. If there is any error which happened, you come inside this. This means we are getting up after an error. We fell into the hole. We are getting up after some error happened. Now we have to walk smoothly again. So for that we use finally. What you do? Walk again. Run as. See. Finally walk again. You can ask why this finally is there. I'll show you the difference here.
Rajesh, that means in the try block, if there is any exception, just go to catch and print the thing, whatever the inside, and
Correct.
then go to finally.
Correct. That is the execution. Now I run this.
And one more thing, this try, catch, and finale is just the inbuilt one, right?
Correct. It is inbuilt.
Okay. Without finale also we can just write yeah.
You didn't go here, see.
Oh.
Exception happened. The program, I mean, it didn't know what to do. It is like you fell into the hole. You don't know what to do now.
Okay.
You have to get ready, come back, and then start moving forward again, right? That is what the finally will do. If you don't do finally, the program after this statement will break and come out of the program. The statement will not be executed. That's why I said you might ask why the finally is there. This is the reason.
If you write a try, catch, and then if you write like system out, it's going to
label this. I'll remove this finally. Nothing wrong. But what will happen if this is for smoother finishing? If you want something to be closed, then smoothly, then you have to give in the finally.
okay.
Well, it's not like not a big deal if you don't give it, but for smoothly finishing it, we give the finally. What happens is in real world scenarios, you want to let's say you want to send out an email, then an error happens. Okay, you cannot give it here because I'll show you. Send out email. If I'm going to give like send out email, even if the error happens or not there, this will be called. But we don't want to be called. We want to be called. We want the email to be sent only when there is an error. You can either give it in catch or you can give it in finally. The good practice is to handle the exception here. And if you want to remove any variables, garbage collection, free up memory, or any other functionalities, you have to place it in the finally.
Okay.
Okay. So we saw try, we saw catch, and we saw finally. Now there are two more words to be handled. Throw and throws. Let's say I am giving here throws exception. And I don't give try here. Try catch, finally, everything I don't give. So now what will happen? See, there is an warning. This says unhandled exception. This means throws exception means there is a warning given from this method to whoever is calling. It means someone is seeing that there is a hole and warning you. If you go there, there is a hole. Please be cautious. So likewise, if you call this method, there is a possibility of getting an error because the code might not be stable. If I don't do this statement, what this means is, hey, my code is very perfect. There is no error in it. You can call it. You will definitely not get an error. So we call it, but we get an error. But if I tell this, that is why in the previous program, we got an error when I gave this directly here. Not this one. When I gave, what is that? That is the reason I wanted to place it in a separate class and show you. Here, this throws, you see here, throws, number format, IO. If I remove these, this will throw error because this method, the Java guy who wrote this method, who wrote this class, he is telling us, if you call this method inside our program, there is a possibility of getting error. What is the error? IO exception error. So you have to handle the IO exception. Either you surround it with a try catch and handle it, or you again throw it back to whoever is calling it. So in our case, what we will do, from here we will tell that throws, what is the exception? Arithmetic exception. So this means whoever is calling this method, get ready to receive an arithmetic exception. Not always, but there is a possibility. If there are some issues in the code, you might get an arithmetic exception. Get ready to receive it. So what I have to do now, here I have to receive that. I should be get ready. I should be ready. Not this program. I mean, right program. Yes. So when it is telling throws arithmetic exception, I should be doing a try catch. Try catch arithmetic exception EX, and I should be printing inside. I should be handling that exception. We will use these exceptions when we develop the front end. Now we are just going through the core Java. When next week, when we start the advanced Java, let's say we have an HTML page where we are asking the user input value, username, password, and they hit submit. There is an error which happened in the system in the Java program. We have to pass out a neat value, a beautiful text to the user that something went wrong, so please try. That case, we'll use this catch. Here we'll send out as error happened processing your request. Please try again. So this would be passed to the front end screen. That's where we use this try catch. So once we develop the program next week, the web application, you will understand the usage of this. For now, is this try catch throws. Is it clear?
Rajesh, you written the throws exception, right?
Yes.
And then if you go to main program, here you tried something, okay, we are getting error in the catch. You okay, in the catch you written arithmetic expression. Could you please explain that program one more time? Just you were, before you were telling that we all someone saw that code, or we have there is an option getting an error. That's the thing we are writing. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's the thing we are writing this one. And then in the main program, what we are doing?
In the main program, we are catching that exception.
Okay.
We are catching that exception and we are handling it smoothly. That's all. We are getting ready to catch an exception. Let's say if we don't catch this, see now when I caught this, there is no red color error happening, right? That's we call it a stack race. There is no stack race. But if I don't do a try catch, the error would be we get the entire thread of error. To prevent this, we catch the exception in a beautiful way. That's all. Just to try catch is to catch the exception. If something is happening in the program, this is an unknown program. This is an unknown class. We didn't write this, so we don't know what might come from here. So we are catching the error and we are printing it.
Understood.
We can also do exception. Exception is a generic, see, unhandled exception. There is an exception thrown. You have to handle it. So now coming back to the documentation. So here they give the theory part, like what is an exception that disturbs the normal flow. So try catch, how to throw. For all this, they have given some examples. But I don't want to show that. What we want to focus is the exception class. Where is the exception class? Throws exception. Exception is inside java.lang.exception. We are inside tutorials. Let it load. So in this case, we are throwing an exception. The main program, it is telling there is an exception thrown. There is a possibility of exception thrown. Add a surround with try catch. Surround with try catch. Add a throw declaration or surround with try catch. If we say add a throws, what we are doing, we won't catch it. We will pass it on again to someone else who is calling the main program. In this case, it will come back to the user here itself. But we don't want to throw back. We want to handle it. In that case, we will surround with a try catch. Let the Eclipse do it. I'll click on surround with try catch. It will catch the exception and it will print. So if we give a debug inside the catch and I start the program, debug as Java application. Now it will come inside the catch block with E. E is the object name. So what is arithmetic exception? Depth 2 by 0. We have the stack, all these things, details of the exception object of that. Now, what is arithmetic exception? We will go into this java.lang.arithmetic exception. We see here there is an extends keyword, extends runtime exception. So before that, there are three types of exceptions. One is checked exception, other is error, and the other is runtime exception. So one is compilation, one is runtime, one is error. This is a compile time exception. If I don't do a try catch, I was getting an error here when saving the file. This is a compile time. This is a runtime. We only know this during, now it is not throwing errors. If you see 1 by 0 is, it is not throwing error because program doesn't know now. When we run only, it knows that it is an exception. But there are something which breaks the program itself that we call as error. We'll deal with that separately. Now,
Rajesh, could you please repeat the statement what you said, the compile time and runtime?
now let me remove this try catch. Okay. There are two Java files now. One is class A, other is main program. If you see here, class A, this is what is causing the problem, correct? 1 by 0.
Yes.
But we don't see a red mark here. This is a problem actually. We don't see a red mark. Here we see a red mark. So this type of exception, this is a compile time, meaning when we save the file, that time itself the editor is able to check that it is an exception and it is warning us. But here, until we run the program, no one will be. I got disconnected. Hello?
Yeah,
I'm back.
we can
Okay.
hear you. I think Kalpana is the host. She has to make you.
No, I think I'm good now. The recording
Other
is
host.
happening. I have to just share my screen. Okay, okay. Host disable participant screen recording. Kalpana, can you please give me access? Let me call up. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so what I was telling, were you asking? Okay,
The compile and error runtime.
correct. So we have two programs here. You see here, this is the cause for the error, but the compiler at the compile time means when we save the file, the compilation is done. The .java will be converted to .class. This is the first time I am telling you. I'll show you where it will be. You right click a project, go to properties. There will be, go to source. There is something as exception bin. There will be a folder like that. Package Explorer. Windows, show view, navigator. I'll come back to the class file later, but just I wanted to show you something. So April exception is something. Okay, here we have bin. There is a folder bin, and you can see here two files. What we are writing is .java, but what the compiler is doing is it is automatically creating .class. I'll delete this file.
That means, Rajesh, when we are typing something, if we are writing any program at that time, at the back end, something is going on. That means it's going to convert something, right? That's what we're telling.
Correct. When I hit save now, just I have given a space here. I'm going to hit Control S. Just watch the place here. You can see my mouse, right? The arrow mark. Bin folder is empty now. As soon as I hit save, the bin got the class file C.
Okay.
Means what's happening is this Java file, which is in human readable format, will be converted as class file. If I open up a class file, it will be of machine readable format. I'll go to the directory itself. Open with text editor. This is what the class file will look like. Only a computer can read this file. But the equivalent class A for human readable format is this one. So when we save this file, the compiler, the Java compiler, which is bundled along with the Eclipse, where you can see what is the compiler. You go to properties. Here there is something as Java compiler. 15 is bundled with the Eclipse. So this compiler will convert the human readable file to machine readable file. Can you see this?
Yes.
So this is what we call as compilation. Compilation is the process by which the Java compiler converts the human readable format into machine readable format. So when I delete this file, every time you save, you make changes to a file and hit save, the compiler will convert into class file. So when the compiler is converting this file, it did not notice any mistake. It did not find any issues with this file. It said everything is good with this file and it converted. But this file, it is finding an error. It is finding a compilation error that there is an exception thrown from the class you are calling. From this method, there is an exception thrown because I'm throwing exception. But here you are not handling it by adding a try catch. So this is called compile time exception. Such exceptions where the compiler itself, it is able to find out the error, it is called compile time exception. This one is a runtime exception because it is not able to find out during the compile time. That's all it is.
Rajesh, could you please go to the main program?
Yes.
You already ran this program?
Yes.
Okay. After ran.
You want me to run it?
Okay, before running also you saw one error.
No, I didn't run now.
You are telling it's a runtime error.
No, this is compile time.
Oh, compile time. Okay, okay.
Because when I am saving itself, when I save, the compilation happens, correct?
Yes.
That time itself, it is telling me error. I didn't even run the program.
Okay, now this one also compile time error, right?
This is a
The
compile time error. The
the
compile
seventh
time error
line, the
will be
cross mark. Yeah.
correct. All
Okay.
the compile time error will be shown as a red color cross mark in
Okay.
the
Gotcha.
runtime exception will not be shown here. It will we'll be able to see it only when we run the program.
Okay.
Even in spite of compile time error, when I try to run, it is telling error exists, exception. Do you want to proceed? Still, I want to proceed. There is an because this file is not yet compiled by the compiler. So it is telling unresolved compilation problem. You please correct this line and then come back. So,
Could you please repeat the last statement? I broke.
so what I was telling is when we save a file, it would be converted as a dot class file. Correct?
Okay.
Understood that. Now this is not converted properly. When I go to the folder and show you, even though there are two files which are converted, but this is not a proper file because there is an error in it. Now, even in spite of this, I am trying to run it. I am asking the Java compiler, no problem, you run me this application. It will tell there is an error in the project. Do you want to proceed? I'll tell yes. You still run me the program. I want to see what is happening. It will tell the program, the class file itself is not a proper class file because there is a compilation error. So please
Okay.
correct this class file and come back. So
Okay.
this is just for your knowledge.
Okay.
So
And
even if,
here the runtime error is the exception one, which
no,
we
no,
see in
no,
console.
no, no. Correct. When we run this, this is the runtime exception. What is the runtime exception? The compilation, there is a problem. That is what the runtime exception is.
Okay. After
We,
compilation, whatever the error we see.
yes, if we solve this error, if we solve this compilation issue, now if we run it, the runtime error will come. This is the runtime error because this was not detected in the compilation process.
Okay.
We call it as exception, runtime exception, because errors are something which will break the program. Exceptions are something which are unusual scenarios which we can handle it, but errors we cannot handle it. Like network is failed, internet is down, the system is shut down. All these are error. You cannot recover from an error.
Okay.
Exceptions recover.
That means the error came after running the program. This is called runtime errors. The compile time is
Runtime
before that.
exception.
Oh, runtime exception.
Yeah, whatever we are seeing now, all these are exceptions. We are not seeing the error still.
Okay.
So exception classes, the master class is java.lang.exception. If you see arithmetic exception, this is coming from this is coming in the arithmetic exception. This is extending runtime exception. This is extending the exception. That is extending the throwable. That is extending the java.lang.object. This is the hierarchy. Inheritance. So this class is extending this 1, 2, 3 in turn. All these classes are extending its own parent. You see here this runtime exception extends runtime exception. Arithmetic exception extends runtime exception. If you go to runtime exception class, it would be extending java.lang.exception. If you open up the exception class, it would be extending. So we saw the extend keyword, right? That is a inheritance, parent child. So that is used here. Now there is one word which is pending from the slide. We saw all these. We saw what is try catch, what is throws, what is finally. You know what is throw? We saw this throw slightly, but I'll explain one more time in a better way. I'll create one more class now, class B. In class B, I will have the same method. From class A, instead of giving a sysout, I will create an instance of class B equal to new class B. Now obj dot say hello. Now what happened? I have three boxes now. I have the main program. From the main program, I am calling the second class A. From class A, I am calling the class B. This is how the execution happens now. The reason I have two classes is only then you will understand this throw. Now what happens from the main program, it is calling the class A. Let's remove this try catch and all for now. Object dot hello. There is no compilation. Compilation is good now. Class A. In class A, I'll call class B. In class B only, this exception is going to happen. So class B is telling throws exception, which means whoever is calling me, get ready to get an exception. Catch it and you deal with it. I won't worry about it. If there is something, I'll throw an exception at you. So class A is having a compilation error now. What it is telling is there is an exception happening in the class which you are calling. You are not handling it. So what I can do now, I have to add a surround with try catch or add throws declaration. Now I'll surround with try catch. So what happened? I am handling the exception in class A itself. Main program does not even know that there is some error. Main program 8, class A, line number 6. Here I am printing. I'll convert this. Copy and run this. The main program doesn't even know that sysout was coming from here. So as a main program, I am calling class A. It is called. Class A is calling class B. Very good. It is called. Class B is throwing an error. It happened. It is coming to class A. Class A, what it is doing? It is catching that exception and it is doing nothing. What main program will think? Main program will think that everything is smooth because class A didn't report anything back to the main program. When I am calling the class A, if the class A has got an error or exception happened, it should be returning back or it should be telling me that I got an exception. Only then I can handle it and show it to the user. If it is not going to tell me back, everything, I will assume that everything is good. So to send back an error, what we do, we use the keyword throw. Throw new exception. This means it's a small okay. Throw new exception. This means when I call B, I got an error. Inside the catch block, I am throwing the exception, whatever I got it. Now, main program will know it. Just the same thing in a slightly in a different way. So, any questions you can ask me. Throw, throws, try catch, finally. These are the four keywords in the exception. Now I can create my own exception also. we have the arithmetic exception, right? We saw just now that the arithmetic, where it is, we saw that there is an arithmetic exception class created by the Java persons. We'll create our own exception. We'll create one exception class, my own exception. Only thing we want to do is we have to extend the exception class. Extend. No, not extend. It is exception. Java.lang.exception. Using this, if I create public class, my own exception extends exception. If I extend this, this becomes an exception. Now, instead of throwing a new exception, I can throw my own exception. My own exception, see here. It is throwing my own exception. So here, I just got that exception. I'm printing the stack trace. Instead of printing the stack trace, I can neatly handle and show it to the user. There is some exception. Any questions? Any questions?
Rajesh, could you please go to class A of Java? Before one is try and catch. This one is try, catch, and throw.
Throw. If I don't give throw, I will not tell to the other person that there is an error. I will handle it myself. That's all. If I don't give throw, the caller, whoever is calling me, will not know that. See, I fell into a hole. I should be telling to either my parents that I fell into the hole. Only then they'll be able to handle it. They can put some medicine. If I don't tell it, they'll think that everything is smooth. Correct? That's all it is. If I give a throw keyword, it means it is an alert to the other. It's an instruction, or it's a sign to the other user, whoever is calling, that there is an error. You catch it. You catch it. You again throw it, or you handle it using try catch. That's all. It is up to you.
Yeah, it's clear, Rajesh.
Anyone else have any questions? You can ask me now. In this tutorial, there is an, you can go through this. The best place I would tell is the documentation tutorial. You don't go to any other, you don't go to Google and search for any programs and try it out. You go to the Java tutorial from Oracle. That's the best place for everything. For everything, they have a sample program. Let's say for the try block, they're given how the try block works, how the catch. There is a sample main program itself. You can place this inside. Let's copy this itself. Let's copy whatever they have given into our class B. We have created this one, right? We'll place this. Right list is the function. List, they are using the list interface. Java.util.list. Everything is done. Catch and finally blocks. They have given like this, but it should be catch exception ex object. Something should be there, and finally, so this is how the program is. For what they have given, the try block. Now, if we call this from the class B, I should be giving something in the sys inside the catch. Only then I'll know whether there is an exception happening. Now I run the program. Okay, there is an out file. So there is no out file. Print writer, try catch exception. Did it come here? Debug as no, this one. Debug Java application. It is calling the say hello. No, it didn't come here. I'll comment out the say hello. Now let me try running. Okay, here it is. There is an exception. There is an exception. Cannot invoke. So this is we cannot invoke list.get of int because it is null. So this is an example for try catch. Same way you go through everything, the catch block finally, the complete program. So you will get a complete detail of everything. Not only for this, for all the topics, whatever we read, you can go over this home page. Basics, essential Java, collection, date, time. So collection, whatever we went through, everything is there. So I would recommend you going through this program. They have this from the Hello World application. They have everything given. This is the best place to start with because it is from the Java developers. Whoever has given us a Java, it's directly from them. Once you know these, then you can go to Google, and that depends on the project. You can search for the other materials. Okay, now if you start searching in the Google, the base itself is not set now, so you will get confused for different approaches. So this is what I would suggest. So I will stop today with this. If you have any questions, we can go over. Otherwise, we'll continue tomorrow. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Raja.
Okay, good. Okay, then. So we'll meet tomorrow again. Take care. Bye bye.